Hello everybody, welcome back to Commonwealth. Flipper, welcome to my mess in here. I've been buying so much and it's a little bit overwhelming. It's just crazy. Let me show you. I mean, this place never looks like this. This is part of the reason we got this second shed, for one, because I didn't want that mess in there and I wanted to streamline all of what we're doing in here. Now we've got all this live selling going on with ramping up eBay at the same time, and things have been nuts, which is why last minute I'm changing the topic. I had a topic I really wanted to talk about. I was driving Turner the other day to a game, and I'm able, when I do that sometimes, to listen to stuff that we both like. But in this case, he had his headphones in and was watching an Angels baseball game on his phone. And so I decided to turn on something else and got to listening. It was not a reseller based program, which I usually watch those, but it had a lot of things that really tied to what I'm doing and being your own boss, and how people have a misconception of it. And I'm like, I get all these ideas for a video because that's what a lot of us love, is controlling our own destiny, even if we have a 40-hour-a-week job and something we can control and be in charge of. And then I thought, great topic, but I've got so much going on today. I changed it last minute. We're going to talk about a couple fun things. Plus, I've had some slow sales. We'll talk about that as well. And we're going to get into what everybody hates about resellers. You ever have to separate your kids because they don't play well together? That's one of those days for you and your brother. Definitely had to separate them. It probably won't last long. I guess we could start, I don't know why that bat's coming out. We could start with slow sales. They have been a little slow for me lately. And this, I don't know how many we have in this video, probably 14 or 15 or so. And then today was slow a little bit. Not terrible. And there were some pretty good sales, but let me know how your sales are going down out there. And I've been putting into work. I do think that I feel like I've been listing as much as ever, and I don't know if my wife maybe I'll just blame it on her. She's slacking. But I'm buying so much, a lot of my time gets taken in the sorting and whatever. But all that makes for a good Q4 when it finally gets here, because I'll have a stockpile. I don't even know what this is, y'all. I have no idea what this thing is. But I sold it. Alien Warrior with base and egg. And that one sold for $32.95. Y'all know what that is? I can't even remember where I bought it. I think I bought it at a sale in Roanoke, but I might have got it out of Mike Deathpile Picker's thing. I'm really good at remembering where I got stuff, how much I paid for it and all that, but I am totally lost right now because I've been buying so much. I always say that I'm a jack of all trades and a master of none, but I feel like I am an expert in one category. And that is why people hate resellers. Because I've been doing social media for so long, boy, I get it all from every different directions. And I'm on multiple platforms, so it's not usually on the Commonwealth Flipper channel on YouTube. It's on other platforms. And I was reminded of that this week with a barrage of stuff, and I find it funny. This isn't me complaining or whining about, people, whatever. I just love the arguments and the logic that is missing in their arguments. But there are a lot of people out there that can't stand resellers. They just have this thing in their mind. But I'm going to go over these, and I think you'll find some of them funny. Now, I'll tell you what. I know this was at the bottom of this bin. It wasn't on the top. So there's been a little fairy in here or something that's been reorganizing for me. Make my life easier. Today's been an absolute I've been running around like crazy. There's so much going on that I just can't quite get it all done. These are giant Jeep towels. I picked them up at a sale, and see, there you go. I learn all the time. I mean, it was Jeep, right? So I was going to pick them up. But they actually have pretty darn good value. Just some not beat up, just some used. I shouldn't have said beat up. They're in good shape. They're just, they're not perfect. Jeep towels. Sold for almost $40, and that was on discount. $37.07, and that was 30% off because they didn't sell last year, plus shipping. All right, that's really weird. I was just walking back to get the next item, and this thing started to make noise, so I came over here. It was like it was trying to ravel up or something, or, kind of come up. So I came over here and I went like this, and the whole thing just flew off of there. I guess the sunshine can come in. I'll have to get a new one. I usually keep that thing closed certain times of the day because the sun comes in and it looks weird when I'm videoing, but oh well. All right, have some Keens. I was surprised these it took as long as they did to sell, but it is time to wear Keens like this, I suppose, not in the winter. I bought these last fall. Speaking of, like I said, that was a year ago, but I bought them at the end of the summer season last year, hoping they would sell, and they didn't. But these Keens were brand new, paid $5 for them. Right? A lot of times you'll see Keens like that, and you're like, oh, cool, I'm gonna grab them. And you open it up, and you see brand new with tags in there. I'm like, oh my goodness, $5. I'll take it. $69.30 plus shipping. And that was 30% off. So I had them listed for $100. And so sometimes that 30% off sale is probably too much, but it's automated for me, and it just makes my life a little bit easier. You know, 5 into 70, I'll take it for sure. So I'm going to talk about this topic a little bit by using a video I posted on Facebook and then some other things I've seen lately. I'll start with some pretty mild ones, and then we'll get into some more serious ones and even personal ones. I don't know, it's cathartic. For those of you who say, you know, don't even mention there's comment. Look, it's really cathartic for me. It's like therapy. All right, Harley belts. Look at this, y'all. I got all these Harley belts. I'm going to have to pull it out because there's a whole bunch of these. So I pulled them over here so you wouldn't hear the crackle. We've sold through that Harley bin over the last year and a half or so, and these just never really sold. And they're awesome. And there's a bunch of them that are size small. There's only a couple that are size medium. Let me check these out right here. And I think, looking back, I just had them overpriced. And they didn't, because everything else was selling, but these weren't selling. And they finally started to sell, which is cool, but they're on 30% off, but they're still going for $28 a piece. So I'm happy with that. And there's only 2 mediums, but I got a bunch of smalls, so I might have to go reprice the smalls to get them finally gone. So these are the typical comments from the general populace, because when I post something on Facebook that gets a lot of views, you're not really reaching resellers like you do on YouTube. They're feeding the right people, if you will, to the right places, and then you get to see a much bigger picture of how people perceive us, which is utterly ridiculous, because the resellers that I know, the vast majority of them, if you take a swath of resellers and a swath of, you know, any other given profession, I'll put their character and their work ethic up against anybody. That's just my opinion. Most of the time, you're going to find bad actors in every single camp. I'm a little early, that's my quote, because I said that. I say that in videos a lot. If I pull up to a yard sale, a lot of times this happens, I'm headed to a particular yard sale, and I want to be there 15, 20, 30 minutes early and just see what's going on. If they look like they're set up, I'll roll my window down and say, do you mind if I look or whatever? In this case, this was a sale I wasn't even headed to. I was headed to a different one, and I saw them setting up, and I stepped out of the car. I didn't even get out of the car. I don't know, maybe I did. And I said, hey, you know, I know it's a little early. Is it okay if I look? That's perfectly fine. It wouldn't bother. If they said no, I'd have got back in my car. I'd either gone to the other sale or I would have sat there and waited. This sale, I would have sat there and waited because of the things I saw. So this person says, I'm a little early. Then you can wait until we're open. That's how they would respond to it. And that's fine. This person here, see, I'm not saying names today. I probably should. Star, I'll just give you the first name, because this was a really particularly good sale. They say, sounds like you should have paid those people more. A shame that you ripped them off. Deb says that I'm greedy as, I can't say that word on here. Jim says, wait till they're open. Would not give any deals to people that show up early. This is just consecutive. I'm not picking these out. These are consecutive. And we have the first viewer sale of the day here. This is to Orty. You are a great supporter of this channel. You buy from time to time. You always comment. We really appreciate you. You watch all the time. This is a cool old Snoopy. This is a popular design, old one. And I'll let you look at the tag. So I can see it right there. There you go. Pretty cool. And this one actually has really good comps. Snoopy's are all over the place, but that one is good. It's a classic design. And it sold for what did it sell for? $24.95 for that one. I love that one. If I had all the Snoopy plush I've ever had, this is my favorite. It's just a classic one. $24.95 plus shipping. And even some resellers hate resellers. And that's pretty awful, y'all. This one's kind of funny. It's, I lost it here. Where the heck is it? Oh, Kay says, I've never been so jealous in my life. I hate you. It was a pretty good day of finds that day. This giant box here took a little longer to sell than I thought it would, but I'm glad it did. I paid $20, I think, for these, and I took an offer on it because they're taking up so much space. tea bags. Motorcycle, like side bags or whatever you want to call them. Brand new. So I got them for, like I said, a really good deal. Eventually sold for $106 plus shipping. Have a real good shipping amount on there and where it's going. I should be doing just fine on that sale. I find it kind of funny, a little bit enlightening, what really triggers different people when they're thinking about reselling. And a lot of it just boils down to we're out there doing it and we're making things happen for us, for our families, and they're not. But whatever. This person, I can't even say this, blank them again, you cheap prick. And this particular sale, y'all, most of these people who say that kind of stuff, I'm buying it at the price that the person put on it at that sale. And, you know, just face it, what's the reality here is if you didn't buy it, then somebody else would. And that's just how things are. And who the heck pays more than the asking price for anything? And this isn't meant to be a defense of this. I'm just really kind of going over it for humor's sake. But man, it is. Let me give you another example of something that I find a little concerning that I've heard on both sides of the aisle and through different methods. And I'm not in the business of defending ticket scalpers, okay? But I do have issue with folks that, I mean, let's face it, some of these folks, these tickets, because my wife loves to go to concerts, Reagan, we just have fun and we do that stuff. And some of the prices, if you can't get in on that initial thing, are just outrageously expensive. And there are some folks who do that and then raise those prices and that kind of stuff. I don't want to get into the defense of it or not. I will just say this, that these things can be solved without legislation, without all these other things. They're not selling the tickets at the market price. And I realize some, you know, whether it's somebody who makes music or whatever, they don't want to appear to be gouging their own audiences, but it's clear that there's such high demand for this stuff that the prices would rise. That's why you have resellers, if you want to call them that, in that game. You could control it. I've also seen, shoot, we did this for the reseller rally. If you buy the ticket, it's identified, it goes with you and you can't resell it. You could only get a refund for it. So there's different ways to get around this. And a lot of these folks out there just try to make themselves look good by fighting the fight in a different way. And I think resellers do the same thing. I'm not ashamed of what I do at all. I'm not going to make excuses for myself or whatever. There's absolutely zero wrong with going to a yard sale and paying what somebody has priced on the item. I realize there are some resellers who won't negotiate. I will do that. I had a sale the other day where it was on the Commonwealth Picker channel, the YouTube channel, and somebody was really ticked off that there was a symphonic VCR. You know, it's not high end. There's no remote. There's nothing with it. And they wanted $10 for it. I'm like, you know, I'll give you $5. And they took it, and they weren't, you know, ecstatic about it. It was the third day of a highway sale, and that VCR was still sitting there. So, you know, I've got no problem whatsoever. It's a used VCR, low end. I don't even know if it's working. I'm not going to pay $10 for it. Got another viewer sale before I get to the good stuff here. You're going to like this. And it should be in... Am I looking on the wrong one? Is it up here? What the heck happened to them? Maybe the same little fairy who made my life easier just made my life a lot harder. That's where they've always been. Are they buried? There they are. There they are. Stone Cold, Steve Austin bandanas. These are super cool. Dylan bought them. And he sent me a message beforehand, said, hey, if I buy two, will you cut the price down to $20? I'm like, well, of course, 20 bucks a piece. And now there's the other one right there. That kind of reminds me, right? That's the hypocrisy. I don't really like it when resellers get really defensive about the lowball offers they get on eBay. And maybe you have the right to. Doggone it. I got it. So Dylan, those two different types, brand new old stock with tags, are headed to you, $20 a piece. You did leave a message. I'll tell you what I mean by maybe you have a right to. I certainly don't. Hello, Kevin, longtime viewer. Bought some of the vintage NASCAR tees from the tote under the table. Very cool. And appreciate that. Thanks again, Dylan. I'm a little confused. Bought some of the vintage NASCAR tees from the tote under the table. I'm so confused. Anyway, I'm sure you know what you're talking about, and I just don't know. But you bought these for sure. Thank you very much. All right, here's what I mean. I do think it's a little hypocritical for a reseller to go out there and ask for a bundle deal like this one was, or you know, somebody left a comment, you know, $65 and you asked for 50. That's a huge difference. I'm glad they at least got $5 more out of you. That's fine. I've got no problem with it. I've got no problem with somebody asking something at a garage sale and it's too much for me. Just saying, hey, have a wonderful day. You know, you're probably going to sell that. It's a great item. Just being nice, being kind to folks. And if they sell it, they sell it. If they don't, they don't. It's really got nothing to do with me. I just present an option to them, and if they're willing to take that option for whatever reason, they want to get rid of stuff. They're, you know, it's the third day of a highway sale, whatever it is. It's between the person trying to buy the item and them. It's not between anybody else. But I think it is a little bit obnoxious when I know pickers who are super cheap. Like, they put me to shame. You know, I get this reputation of being a lowballer and whatever. I'm like, you guys have no idea. I pay way more than some folks. And they'll get out there, and I know some of these pickers, and then they get irate when somebody sends them an offer. I got this listed for $100, and they offered me 50 on eBay, and I'm going to block them and whatever. It's like, well, you got the right to do that if you want. But, man, I've seen you out at yard sales, and you do the same. I got a message from somebody just today that their thrift store, I mean, not theirs, but the one that they go to, is limiting the amount of sales to resellers. And I'm like, this is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Dumb for the thrift store, and certainly just an illogical art. What are you going to do? Police the people who take this stuff home? You know, you identify them as resellers, and you know, how do you know who they are? What if some little old lady comes in or buys something and 5 years later she wants to sell it at a garage sale? Is she a reseller and she should have been? It's just dumb. It's also getting kind of dumb to buy these. I feel like I used to get $10, $12 for these banners all the time, and now I'm getting less and less, but I still love it. I just keep doing it. And this one was kind of nice. Big giant turkey Thanksgiving one, and I sold it for $7. So $1 into $7 plus shipping, I'm making money, but I don't know. Not the best use of my time, but man, I love it, and I'm going to keep doing it, probably. I'm going to try to get good ones, though. So along those same lines, I got a comment on a Facebook video the other day. Yeah, you wouldn't want to come buy my yard sale stuff. It's priced for people who buy for themselves, not for resellers, and my prices are firm. It's like, okay. And I left a comment in reply. I posted this on Instagram. People liked it over there, so I'm not going to mention this person's name, and I took that name off of the social media. I'm not in the business of shaming people or making fun of people. I just like to bring arguments and logic to it and have fun with it. And so my comment back to them was, aren't you a reseller? You are reselling things after all, meaning you're having a yard sale. You are a reseller. So, you know, people have the choice to sell. You know, if somebody walks into your yard sale and they got a camera on and you're like, oh, it's a resale, I'm not reselling to you and I'm not doing whatever, fine. That's your right. It's absolutely your right. But illogical arguments are still illogical arguments. The wrestling stuff still sells, still continues to sell, I should say. And I sold a Goldberg. Where's it at? There's Goldberg right there. And I don't make much money on these, y'all, but multi-quantity, single listing, you make a little bit over and over. $7.66 for the Goldberg one. That's our slowest seller of all of them. I could be wrong, but I would venture to say that 95% plus of the population, depending on your definition of a reseller, are resellers. I mean, who has, I mean, shoot, cars, for goodness sake. You might be losing money, but you still are a reseller. So what is it that people really do hate about the whole process? What do you think it is that they hate about it? Is it just the fact that, you know, a lot of people, and they just don't, and part of it is just not understanding, right? You know, they see the comp that I throw up and it's, you know, I paid $5 and it sold for 52. You just made 40, I'm not going to do some math here, $47 on that person. You're an awesome person, awful person. And we all know that I didn't make $47 off that person. Made quite a bit less, and you got to pay taxes on what you did make, and this thing's a job, and it's a heck of a fun job. So you tell me, think about it for a second. Tell me in the comments, what's the real issue that so many people have? Because there's a huge group of people out there that see it and just don't like it. So what's the down and dirty issue that's really there? Because I know those people won't go into a Walmart and say, oh, there's a great deal on this clearance item. I'm going to actually pay them full price because that's the right thing to do. is dumb. All right, Scooby-Doo. This one right here has been sitting right there for a long time. I got to find a replacement for it. I don't know what I should put up there, but I'll find something that just fits perfectly in that spot right there. And like I said, it has been here for a long time. Scooby-Doo with tags, NASCAR. I paid $1 for it, so it's been sitting here a while, and I didn't make a ton. $12.60. It was on clearance. $12.60 plus shipping. I want to know a couple more things as well. One of them is, have you ever been to a sale and you see something and you're like, yeah, that's got to be good, and they have a big price tag on it, and you make an offer, and then you get home and realize it's so much better than you thought. And that a lot of times happens in my videos too, where in reality, if I really did know something was worth an outrageous amount of money and they had, you know, I'd probably just pay that price and move on. But sometimes you want to go quickly through it, and you just want to find those deals. You want to see if you can get a better deal. I also need to do a video one time that tabulates all of the negotiations and all of the money I saved at a yard sale. And if you always paid that amount, or if you always paid up, you know, how much would you be costing yourself over the course of a year? And you're basically saying, I'm going to give myself and my family a giant pay cut, because that's the right thing to do. I guarantee these people, if they thought that their boss wasn't paying them enough, or excuse me, was paying them too much money, they're like, man, I got way too much money for this job that I do. They wouldn't walk into their boss and say, give me a pay cut. But somehow they think that's okay for us. So here we go. Skylanders Superchargers PS4. I think this doesn't have a manual. It sold for just under 22 bucks for that one plus shipping. Hey, that's kind of one of those deals I was talking about. I know it might come as a surprise to y'all, but I'm not a video game expert. Never have been. I played when I was a kid, but I mean, we're talking like Burger Time on Atari and then on into the regular NES. But I don't even remember having a Super NES. So that was the extent of my video game playing as a kid, and then I didn't play it as I got older. Ah, that's not true. I played a little bit of Sega when I was in college for a couple of months, but NHL 95? Is that what it was? Anyway, so when I come across this kind of stuff and Skylanders and whatever, I'm like, I don't even know what I'm looking at half the time. And there's a box. There was 2 boxes. Disney Infinity and Skylanders, and they were just jam-packed. They had games, they had everything. And my experience with some Skylander games is they're not worth that much. That was my experience in my head. So it was $100 for both. I'm like, I'll give you 50. I don't know what I say, 75? I'll give you 75 for all of it. You know, and I brought that thing home. Holy moly. We are going to make a ton of money. There was so much, and there were so many good things and some good games in there. I'll make all that money back on one game. Not this one, but one game. I had no idea. And so if that makes me a bad person, that makes me a bad person. But that was another community sale, and it was well into the community sale. People passed that sucker up for hours. And, you know, this hadn't happened to me too much, but I have heard a lot of resellers, you know, give stories of how they've been treated poorly because they're a reseller at a garage sale. And so have you ever had that happen to you at a thrift store or a garage sale or in person or with a family member? I'm curious to hear your stories. Put them in the comments. I certainly hope that, you know, shows like this and stuff like that, people say it all contributes to it because everybody's bragging about what they found and they're all hated and they have to pay the price on eBay for it and everybody's ripping them on. I'm like, yeah, right. You wouldn't go to a garage sale and get it at 7 in the morning. Anyways, all right, Virginia Tech Opoly. This one was sealed, which is why I picked it up. And I think I might have paid $5 for it, because they don't sell very well and they don't sell very quick, but it was sealed. So I'm like, it's worth it. $23.70 plus shipping. So not a massive profit, but definitely worth picking up for me. All right, Turner's got some Commonwealth comedy and a couple of dogs. What do you got, bud?
Why don't skeletons go on vacation during spring break?
Why don't skeletons go on vacation during spring break? I don't know why.
They have nobody to go with.
Thank you.
Bye.
By the way, it took me 27 minutes to create this box. I don't know, 5 into 60. Whew. I guess it's worth it. Do have a plus though, it depends, somewhere between $27.27 and $19 and change shipping, depending on which service I take. And I charged $39.99. So technically, you know, this should be a $55 profit all in pictures, everything, less, you know, maybe 40 minutes. So yeah, that's worth it. I gotta show you this, y'all. This is an order. My wife ordered it. I had a Mercari credit or something. She's like, I'll just buy it right there. And she's like, where is the curling iron I ordered? I'm like, I've seen no boxes that look like a curling iron box. This giant box with no padding at all except for a tiny bit of bubble wrap is what that thing came in. Holy moly, Mercari sellers. And this next one, so this is a slow day of sales, and 3 of them were viewer sales. So I think we had 14 sales, 3 to viewers. So I really do appreciate that. I guess it's not too far off of 20%, maybe just a tick above. But this one I wouldn't have noticed if it wasn't for a message that I saw right before we came on. And I normally don't read them unless it says it in the message to the buyer. But I saw this one and I just had to. This Ghostbusters Bug Eye, if you remember that one's kind of cool. It's actually pretty well made. They're like the rubbery kind, is kind of neat. That one sold for $9.07 plus shipping. And I'm kind of sad because I like it sitting right there, but it's headed out the door. So let me read this message really quick. They say, hi Kevin, this is Lola Flexper. That's the name of the, I don't have a name on here, so. Hi Kevin, just like to let you know that we enjoy watching your YouTube channels a lot. My wife of 27 years is having a birthday this week. I don't know if you can give her a birthday shout out. Well, we're doing it right now. Her name is Yen and my name is Johnny. Keep going and doing what you do. God bless. So thank you. I appreciate that. Listen, I do these videos just to say sometimes that if anybody's giving you a hard time, just don't let them do it. Imagine a world without resellers. You just wouldn't have products to, I mean, Walmart's a reseller, for goodness sake. So I don't understand the hatred. I don't understand the arguments for it. And it's fun to read these things. And don't ever let somebody else's opinion of what you know you're doing for you, for your family. And, you know, that's not to say don't be kind to people. That's not to say, you know, if you got $1,000 item and they're asking $20 and you try and get it for 12, man, that's a little cringeworthy, even for me. So, at any rate, thank y'all so much for joining us. Be proud of what you do. Be proud of who you are. And like I said before and many times, there's a lot of folks out there who do this for their families, and their families don't even appreciate it. And there's a lot of folks who do it for themselves, and they don't have support, and they're alone, and just trying to make it in this world. And I appreciate you guys out there watching me, because I've been so blessed with not just being able to do this for a living, but with an audience to listen to me. There's my wife right there. Say hi. Blessed. She's probably in here to yell at me and do the shipping, I hope, because I got to take Turner to practice. Anyway, thank y'all for joining us, and I can't wait to see you next time.